the first day of week 6, and we're into the final set of today. Luminosity versus Allegiance. Anatoliy will be joining me for your first broadcast. Are you excited?
I'm actually really excited to cast this.
And to be fair, the two teams that you get to cast as well are two teams that you've been around for quite a while.
Yeah,
and you
two
know
veteran teams and players like Lassiz, andinster, BaRRaCCuDDa, yeah.
So, who's your money on this game? My first question.
I think that this is going to be a split.
You really do?
Yeah.
What's the reasoning for that?
So last week 5, we saw a split coming out of them. They have some different roster changes, role swaps specifically. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards a split.
Well, roster changes. If you guys didn't know at home, Snoopy at the moment is not on this roster of LG anymore. It's going to be Scary D. What do we know about Scary D here?
He's played soloing before. He's also played support before. He has a wide variety of god pool. For the SPL specifically, he leans more towards the Warriors, so that's probably what we're going to see out of him.
We'll see if he goes for the Warriors now, and as we head ourselves towards picks and bans as well. Allegiance sat in 7th place here as well. 7th, not the best situation for him to be in so far this season. Was it expected to be that low? Do you expect? Or?
Well, coming into the season, they were a mixture of players. They had to get their spark coming into Season 3, and a little bit on the low side I expected, but we can see more changes coming out of them for the second half.
Well, they've got MrMakey in the support role for the 2nd week in a row. Picks and bans on your screen. Let's go.
Looking for that detonate for the secure, and it's going to go to Allegiance. It's stolen. That might have been Incon.
No follow-up from the rest of Allegiance. Oh, there comes the Kraken. It's going to find 4. Lassiz takes out Panda.
Nice shots from Oceans as well. What in the hell was that?
So picks and bans totally for this game. Allegiance will be first pick, first ban here. Is there any strategy you want to see them do? Do they want to focus onto Scary D in the solo lane for his first game for LG, or are they looking at maybe somebody else in this roster?
Out of Scary D, we've seen a lot of Ravana and Bellona specifically, but we have also seen Ravana and Bellona coming out of Mattypocket, so I wouldn't be surprised if these two are highly contested picks for both teams.
Well, Zeus banned out by Allegiance immediately. Pretty good shot to TheBoosh, who's picked that 5 times already this season, and Sobek in response, which is definitely going to be hitting onto MrMakey's god pool.
Yeah, MrMakey likes to play very aggressively. He likes the Ares, he likes the Sobek, so Luminosity has been doing their homework with that soul ban.
Soul ban as well coming through, so we're not going to see that on the table. Allegiance have the opportunity for first pick here. Now, Incon has had a lot of focus in this mid lane put onto him in terms of bans just lately. Would you look for a comfort pick from early now, or is this some prominent pick you're looking for now?
This specific pick, I would lean more towards a jungle pick. Thor is open. Thor would be a really nice first pick for Lassiz, having that global pressure. He can make a play any side of the map that he leans on and bail out Incon at the same time.
I like the call as well, especially with it being one of his major go-tos, but instead, they're going to go for the Athena for MrMakey early on. Now, that technically can run multiple roles, but most often than not, we'll see it in support.
What if we see Athena jungle here? That's Lassiz's bread and butter staple.
Really?
I mean, you never know. But then again, Athena, good global presence god, good enough to peel for Incon. I think the theme of this game is going to be who can protect their mid player better.
I think if Thor gets locked in for andinster here on LG, we could see a game of who's got better global rotations. hi-rez, though, will go over to BaRRaCCuDDa this game, and it's their 2nd pick option available.
Yeah, so with Apollo still being the same, however, throwing dagger being nerfed for this week specifically. Normally we'd see hi-rez and Apollo, but now hi-rez has more priority than Apollo because of that change.
So would you see it go throwing dagger on hi-rez, do you expect?
You could. However, you would have less sustain because now it's 1350 gold instead of 1300, so you'd be running 3 potions as opposed to typical 6. And we also now do have Thor on andinster.
And I think the Thor on andinster there was kind of forced. They forced the hand there, especially with Athena. You can't give them Athena and Thor on the same team.
That's too much global pressure. It's too dominant early on. Actually, throughout the whole stage of the game, you just don't want to have those two gods on the same team.
Well, I'll talk about presence as well. Isis is available for these two teams, and if Allegiance don't look to take that for themselves, which we've seen Incon go to, we'll see, you know, Boosh on Isis and andinster on Thor. You don't want to be messing with that early game, do you?
Yeah, the early game, Purple Pod Isis is very dominant, one of the strongest level 1-2s. Especially, it's very safe. Thor can set up the Isis can set up the Thor for the Mjolnir attunement. So we could actually see Isis. It's not banned here. We do have Janus coming for Incon, though.
So Janus could have a pretty safe pick in the mid lane for Incon there. He's gone to that a couple of times. But talking about safe picks, Mattypocket going to get Bellona very early in this draft as well. So I guess their counterban phase may be focused on Scary D here coming out from Allegiance.
Yeah, I believe that Matty's played Bellona 5 times this season. So it's definitely a pick that he's very comfortable with going in. Luminosity, waiting for the next pick. It is going to be Ravana for Scary D.
So I think this is just making sure they both get comfort picks over in that solo lane. Allegiance tried to force their hand a little bit. It does allow, though, them to ban the Isis away if they want to. Is Isis such a threat like she used to be nowadays, though, Tolly?
Not necessarily. We do have the resurgence of Chronos for Season 3 with the Doom Orb changes specifically, and maybe that's something that TheBoosh is leaning on here.
Well, Nejar going to get taken away from Lassiz, having that opportunity for himself. You did mention we could see the Athena jungle. We'll find out, but Capri will be taken away from our boy, the Bacchus King himself, JeffHindla, which has not been banned just yet, as Medusa taken out as well.
The last week 5, Jeff played Bacchus into Lassiz's Awilish and actually got punished when he missed some of the belly flops, or he would just get diverted by the Awilish ulti. So it's actually not terrible that Bacchus is still up here.
And considering Allegiance are sat in 7th place there, these teams split the last time they faced off against each other the first half of the season. So we did see the Isis ban against, BaRRaCCuDDa as well, making sure it's not a Thor Isis combo. But Vulcan, well, second time I believe today we're seeing this drafted. What's the rise of Vulcan about, Tolly?
Well, recently with the change to the ultimate, travel distance is a little faster. It makes him a strong contested pick. People don't expect the damage of certain gods, especially when they fall out of the season. They'll come in surges, the Vulcans, the Cronoses coming into the season. And we do have a Xbalanque coming from
Another one
Allegiance.
coming through the season as well. Oceans will be playing that one. Oceans, to be fair, I'm surprised they're the ones that banned Apollo themselves, considering Oceans has picked that up a lot so far this season. And a Thanatos is the final pick.
What's really good about this combination, specifically between Xbalanque and Thanatos, is that once Thanatos goes in the air, Xbalanque is going to run his ultimate, so it's going to be very difficult for Luminosity to see where exactly the angle that Lassiz is coming from.
Good call as well, and especially with Vulcan ultimates, and not easy to confirm, especially with the Xbalanque ultimate available. But Sylvanus will be the final pick for Luminosity here. We're going to see Jeff go back to, well, the extra clear god that they're going to have over in that duo lane. I think that gives them a little bit of an advantage there early on.
The clear early game from Sylvanus and Hui is going to be very dominant, and I would like to see Hui take advantage of the Sylvanus pick and go Transcendence instead of Throwing Dagger.
But do you not think Throwing Dagger could help? Just because you've got to get 3 potions, we mentioned that, right? So 3 potions. Well, let's find out in game as we get ourselves in there.
Look at this, BaRRaCCuDDa left untouched in the middle of 4, finds the stun. He's going to be focusing Mast to the back line. There goes Stealth, and there goes Mast as well. Triple kill coming up from BaRRaCCuDDa, and Luminosity are looking good to close out Game 2. Trying to find the last hit. That's the 3rd kill in a row for andinster. And this is Luminosity. You can't count them out at any stage in the game. Looking for a 3rd, but BaRRaCCuDDa might be able to turn this. And a double kill for the BaRRaCCuDDa.
LG sat 4th coming into today. Allegiance sat in 7th position. They split last time round. They've got big games ahead of them in this coming week as well as we tune in this. And there is a code on your screen straight away, boys and girls. 5 minutes to claim it. You can claim it in-game or you can claim it at promo.smitedame.com, and it is Puppeteer, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Puppeteer skin code. Go get it and you'll have a great day.
So right away we see on the Hui, like I mentioned, the Transcendent start. He's leaning more towards the sustain from Sylvanus and the push, so he's not worried about having Throwing Dagger for that extra clear. And if he has a good angle for the Ricochet, that's also going to help him out.
It's true, because we discussed this off air as well, but Throwing Dagger, maybe with a Sylvanus it could be useful with the Throwing Dagger because you don't have to worry about potions so much because you've got the sustain from Sylvanus. But Transcendence with the clear coming out, I think this is going to work out nicely for him as well.
He's leaning more towards the mid game, but for the early game here, we can see the jungler mid combinations, they both have the same exact builds. Red pot, purple pot for both.
When we talk about red pot, purple pot for those two in the mid lane for both teams, who's got lane advantage there?
Early game, the safer is definitely the Thor Vulcan, right? You can stun into the meatball, into Mjolnir attunement, depending if he gets lean against the wall. Whereas Thanatos has to be careful. It's actually very difficult to hit the Thanatos Death Scythe as opposed to the Thor Mjolnir attunement.
If he can hit the Death Scythe, though, that's the big key. If he hits that Death Scythe, that could change the lane significantly in a moment's notice, I guess, overall. So how is the Lassiz's Thanatos anyway? You've played with him a lot.
Yeah, his Thanatos is good. When he's on, he's very scary. He might actually even go blink Thanatos to level. So it's not unheard of for Lassiz to do this.
That's true. We've seen some Master already play some of Thanatos this season as well, and he actually went for, I believe it was, what was Sunder? He went for Sunder on that, and actually managed to pick a 2-shot up in the end because of that. But early on, wave clear advantage for Allegiance, and Scythe followed by Unstable. Great poke damage there on TheBoosh.
Okay, if they can consistently set that combo up, then this is going to be very difficult for Luminosity to hold the midway. But meanwhile, the Majolner 2-mid double tap, chunking Incon there.
That was very important to make sure they even that up. The Harpy's going to be contested here, but Allegiance's cooldowns are available. They'll get left Harpy control for now. And right Harpies did go the way of Allegiance at the beginning of this game, with Lassiz taking that with Mattypocket as well. So they've still got back Harpies able to farm here as well.
And also on the minimap, Mattypocket was able to do the imps there and went back to the soul lane. So he's a little bit ahead of ScaryD at the moment.
Are we expecting a lot of Mattypocket this game against ScaryD, who, let's be honest, ScaryD's walking onto a big name team here. Is nerves going to play a factor for him?
No, he's very comfortable with Ravana specifically. I've seen him play this in ranked very consistently. As you see, he has Mattypocket poked out to about 30 to 40% of his health pool, pushing him under his tower. This is a good position to be in the soul lane.
Look at the potion difference between the two as well. ScaryD still sat on 4 potions and 3 multi-potions, sorry, 2 multi-potions, now 1 used of each there on that trade out between the two. Mattypocket, a little bit of a situation
Here comes the rotation, though, from Luminosity.
Andy not going to be able to find the wall, though. If he would have found that, I think the double tap would have maybe secured the kill with the Berserker Barrage follow-up. And Boosh's rotation there, I like that he came too.
Wherever your jungler goes, you should always tag along as a mid player. That's very important. And we see Boosh getting chunked about 30% of his health pool from 1 death side.
So I've seen 3 death sides come out from Lassiz so far, and 2 have connected onto primary target, so it's not too bad. But Lassiz in a bit of an awkward position here. Going to get hit by the backfire. The wall was perfectly positioned for the turret to get the final kill.
Yeah, Incon unfortunately didn't place the portal for Lassiz to get away. You have the threshold, you have the portal, you have to use that to your advantage to escape. Lassiz was now level 5, didn't have the ultimate for the escape, and unfortunately got caught out there.
Well, you just saw left-hand side there as well. The pressure from JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa allowed them to steal away the balls on the left to give them a bit of a lead, so they'll hit level 5 off this wave now.
Yeah, and whoever hits level 5 in the duel lane has a huge advantage. JeffHindla's looking for the level 5, look, gets the pull.
That
gets
was a
taunted,
big pull.
though.
Big pull. Blind pulls are not that easy to land, but read the situation well onto Oceans, who used the Rising Jaguar to get away, but nice pressure once again from Luminosity. And let's talk about this dual lane a little bit more from Allegiance. I mean, MrMakey comes into this. This is his first real full-term roster position on a team in the SPL. And Oceans, his first appearance in the SPL. What's it like having 2 rookies in there? I mean, they're technically rookies to an extent.
It's an interesting mix because you also have seasoned veteran players like Incon and Lassiz helping you out along the way. So even though they're new to this team and into the scene, they have help along the way.
But they're against BaRRaCCuDDa and JeffHindla.
I'm sure they've scrimmed against each other more than enough to be very comfortable in the situation. So I'm not really worried about their nerves against, like, I'm not respecting people, but I'm not disrespecting people at the same time.
Big difference. We've got to find that balance between the two as well. So Transcendence, as we said, started off by BaRRaCCuDDa. He'll be working nicely towards that. As we see, the player damage is all on, well, andinster once again because of that early impact. We saw Thanatos get himself going for Lassiz, but after that pick, he's kind of slowed the pace a little bit more now as he clears the blue buff on the right-hand side. I think that was stolen away, actually.
Despite getting first blood here, Lassiz is actually 1 level ahead. We do have a red buff contest.
Yeah, taunt comes out, through space and time gets fired. 2 buff goes down, the dunk comes in from Lassiz. BaRRaCCuDDa uses purification, takes to the sky, leaps back towards the safety of Boosh, but the pull from Incon was good, but it's not enough for the kill. Ocean's trying to find the kill on BaRRaCCuDDa, but he's overextended now. Barra's swinging around the back to survive as Lassiz is being focused down by ScaryD, who's made a fantastic rotation over here to get another kill. Rally here from Mattypocket, but he doesn't find BaRRa again, who escapes. BaRRa played Rengar around the roses, and nobody found the poses.
Yeah, the way the Janus ulti transitioned from the mid lane to the dual lane, they put all their attention to the left side. BaRRaCCuDDa recognized this, jumps into the safety of the BaRRaCCuDDa, basically negating the use of the Janus ultimate completely.
And Mackie there, you can see he took the turret shot because he wants to make sure Golf Fury wasn't being done off the back of that. But both the solo lanes making teleportation calls over to this lane so early. This is going to be a fast game.
This has been very unheard of to have these kind of early rotations out of your solo lane around the 430 mark. This is showing Luminosity like they come to play. They're not afraid of doing your red buff right off the bat. Even though Lassiz died early on, he was level 6 to Anister's level 5.
And you can see the kills as well. 2 of them were on Lassiz. Now the first blood, obviously, and then we also saw, Incon, MrMakey fall down as well for that pick as well, trying to support him. So in the end, they didn't find BaRRaCCuDDa, who did a very good job.
Yeah, this is what you're going to have to do as a team. You're going to have to lean on each other to make the escapes or the aggression, and that's exactly what they did there. They relied on JeffHindla to make the aggressive plays, and then they relied on TheBoosh saving BaRRaCCuDDa there.
Now, when you mention aggression as well, Thanatos is a very aggressive early game god. When you're down 0-2 early on, like Lassiz is now, do you let up the pressure or do you still keep going?
It depends on the situation. So, for example, if the dual lane of Luminosity is playing aggressive, you have to alleviate that pressure. And when you have Janus on top of the Thanatos, you have to utilize those double global ultimates to your advantage.
And they tried to do that in the engagement of the red buff there, which didn't go in their favor. Mattypocket over in this right-hand side. He did rotate to the fight, didn't manage to find that pick on BaRRa he was after, but he's doing okay for himself there. But ScaryD, thanks to that kill, already gone back to base, working towards potentially breastplate or an Armenian line here.
Yeah, he has tier 2 breastplate of Valor right now, up about 300 gold. Blue buffs are down for a little while. However, Matty's is coming up. I'm not sure if they have the timer for that, but if that is the timer that they have, they could look to put pressure on that buff.
All right, Harpy's about to spawn here, not flashing just yet, but MrMakey and Lassiz ready for it. They're actually hanging around the corner, potentially looking for a pick. Who's their primary target here? Is it going to be BaRRaCCuDDa here more than likely?
It could be Sylvanus, because you don't want your mid-mage to face check. You want your support to do that. And it looks like the right side mid-Harpies are going to go to
but
Allegiance.
Thor's up. Andy's in the sky right now. Going to dunk it on Lassiz, who has to purify away, but already half health lost. The ult came out from BaRRaCCuDDa there, but it's not enough for the kill as MrMakey ults himself away from the danger for now. But ScaryD's rotation is hot and tasty and gets himself a double kill.
This is the perfect rotation coming out of ScaryD. You use your ultimate to cross over the Thor wall. That was cutting off their escape. That was actually the saving grace for Allegiance, but ScaryD just jumps over and says, nope. Give me that double.
Newest addition, Snoopy off the team now. ScaryD comes in, and when Cloud9, which is pretty much a very similar roster to us, brought in Baskin. Everyone's like, who's Baskin? And everyone's like, why ScaryD? Well, he's showing up.
Yeah, everyone has their moments when they shine, and right now this is ScaryD's game. Currently getting that double kill was a huge rotation, teleporting around the 4 to 430 mark on the dual lane. He's definitely having a really nice game.
So we saw with Ravana as well, Tolly, that he kind of fell out for a little while, but now he's back in amongst the pigeons. But his early game seems strong. His mid game, he seems to falter a little bit. But then late game, what does he bring something late game, or is he just all about early?
You could bait out a lot. You use your second ability to use the immunity frames to absorb a lot of cooldowns and damage. You have the root. You have the 8-second slow base, and with cooldown that becomes even less, around 6 seconds or so. We do have engagement in the mid lane,
Yeah,
however.
looking for Lassiz over and over again. His ult was on point, though, to get him away from the danger. Through space and time gets fired, and Lassiz went back in looking for the pick. Not going to find it, though, but the portal allows him to disengage the fight. Pocket comes over there as well to try and help out, but immediately Luminosity disengage.
What was really nice about that ultimate from Incon was that fact that it hit 2 members. I wouldn't be surprised if Allegiance actually looks for a Gold Fury here.
Will they look for the Gold Fury, though? I mean, obviously, XbaLaNque just come back to base. Oceans does have his ultimate available to try and start that one up and lose some vision. But when you say about Gold Fury contest, realistically, the best secure on this on either team is BaRRaCCuDDa on Vulcan.
Yeah, you have to be very mindful, and this is probably why Allegiance strayed away from it. Thanatos was a little low as well, so he had to back to base. But so was Luminosity, but they respected the ultimate from TheBoosh, and definitely a good idea from Allegiance.
It's been an exciting first 8 minutes of the game, though. 5 kills already. Yeah, they all went in LG's favor, but it didn't look like Allegiance have given up the fight just yet already, so it's good.
Yeah, you can't let the pace of the game by the enemy just dictate you. You have to still look for plays in any way that you can. Allegiance will look for these plays, whether it's aggression or counter-aggression. They're very good with counter-aggression, having the Janus ultimate.
Well, andinster actually been given the red buff by his team as well in the jungle here this time round. So clearly they want to set Andy up for going for the extra damage here. BaRRaCCuDDa going to just sit on the back with those turrets and fire off the damage from range.
Normally, different junglers have different playstyles. We see Verizial, specifically out of enemy, will play the defensive style, setting up their mid, going breastplate of Valor early. Andinster, however, likes to be that carry style. He'll want to get Jotun in this situation, go for a lot of damage, as we do see Luminosity starting up Gold.
They've started Gold Fury, but MrMakey is aware, and Andy has drawn them in. Now they've seen him in the sky. Is he going to dunk down on MrMakey? He is, you know. The Vulcan's coming in, but it's not placed on top point. MrMakey gets out of the danger zone for now, but BaRRa giving chase with andinster, and andinster gets himself another kill. 2-0 and 3. Lassiz is up though, looking for the dunk on BaRRaCCuDDa, but BaRRaCCuDDa is still alive. BaRRaCCuDDa survived the damage and will escape this one for now as the turnaround was there, but Lassiz trying to get away, but ScaryD one more time turns up, and andinster with a double tap will secure another kill.
Another beautiful rotation from ScaryD, 9:45 mark, recognizing that there's a team fight going on. Gold Fury is highly contested. He has to rotate. He'll give up a wave on the soul lane. What was really interesting though, as Lass took up to the sky, is actually getting healed by the Sylvanus, so it took him out of the threshold.
We actually saw there Incon trying to go for the steal there. Didn't manage to find it, unfortunately. Luminosity get the Gold Fury as well. Let's go to the graphs and just see the impact in this game already. 10 minutes in, 4,000 gold, 4,800 experience.
At this pace, Luminosity can run away with this. There's never a player other than andinster you don't want to give a lead like this to. He'll control his team to a T, and he'll just want to play so aggressive every single lane with this advantage.
It's a 2-level lead over Thanatos, and as well as a 1,200 gold lead for him individually as well. It's a great position to be in, and let's be honest, andinster, he's not been on the same level that we've seen him before just lately, but this looks like he's coming back to old form.
When he's making plays, he's very comfortable, and he just makes one play after another, and when things are going well for him, he just won't stop. He's just like a machine.
Just a machine. Well, he's going to continue this machine ways, and ScaryD as well over in that solo lane has Breastplate of Valor finished as well, but he's also worked up, sorry, he's also 3-0-1 in that lane with a nice lead over Mattypocket as well. Good first time on this roster for himself as well.
Especially when you're starting off, you want to have a dominant performance like this to carry you throughout the rest of your games. This is a huge confidence booster for ScaryD. You're also leaning on towards the success of the way andinster and BaRRaCCuDDa play together. And the fact that they're able to make these plays in the mid lane with ScaryD rotating and now even comfortable enough to proxy the
you
wave.
talked about comfortable. Well, that shows that he's very happy with this position right now. Going behind the wave, proxy farming, taking a couple of tower shots. This is an important game. I guess that's why we went Ravana as well, right? Because Ravana very strong in the early game.
Yes, he needs to have that early game lead to transition well in the mid to late game because certain warriors do more successful things in the mid to late game than Ravana does. So if he doesn't get that early lead, then he'll just fall behind a little bit. But in this game specifically, ScaryD has made Ravana work.
He really has 2-level lead over Mattypocket at the moment as he goes over to his own blue buff at the moment. Allegiance kind of just have to sit back for a moment or two now and just collect their thoughts a little bit. They're on the defensive for sure. It's 7-0 down at 12, but it's and the Gold Fury. As the second code comes on your screen, you can enter that in-game or over at spikegame.com. That's up for another 5 minutes, boys and girls.
So what Allegiance has to do here, they need to play a little careful. It's going to be very difficult to hold the tier 1 mid tower because they have the Sylvanus sustain also. They're going to need to rely on really good vision, defensive vision specifically around Gold Fury. Look for an aggressive play coming out of Luminosity and try to catch anyone out of position, specifically the BaRRaCCuDDa. If the BaRRaCCuDDa is separated from the rest of his team, that's their target.
We're actually looking at Oceans there, who took a little bit of poke damage coming out from andinster there. But meanwhile, while that's going on, BaRRaCCuDDa has been left alone on this left-hand side, and Oceans has to take the very safe route all the behind ways to tier 2 tower there, which means BaRRaCCuDDa can chip away at this tower. Look at the position of Luminosity in the jungle there. They're actually stopping Oceans from trying to come in and contest this.
And this is a good way to slowly whittle away. We do have MrMakey getting caught out using his ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. The damage over time from JeffHindla is just too strong. Oceans at the tier 2 tower, tier 1 falling.
And Mackie was just looking for the rotation to support more than anything, right? He was just trying to help Oceans out to get to that lane to farm.
Yeah, and this is what Luminosity was waiting for. They were waiting for that rotation specifically. BaRRaCCuDDa was pushing. We do have andinster having to go to the sky. He does get bursted down. Actually got hit by through space and time.
He got hit by through space and time, unstable vortex, and the death side, but maybe this is a turnaround chance for Allegiance now. Over the wall jumps BaRRaCCuDDa, already used the purification, so the stun will connect from Lassiz if he connects with it, which he doesn't. Scythe does, however, but reinforcements are here. Jeff will set up a front line with BaRRaCCuDDa, but there's a taunt coming out from Mackie, going to hit onto 2, but immediately, is this enough damage for them to turn this around? I'm not sure it is. In the end, I think Luminosity is just going to be able to walk away from this. Mattypocket tries to create his own, but there's no follow-up.
Yeah, he was kind of relying more on the Janus mobility, the threshold. We do have another great death scythe. The sustain just barely able to keep BaRRaCCuDDa topped off Matty.
Matty, though, makes sure it goes through, but maybe he pays the price himself. No ultimate to get away. Was it worthwhile?
Level 14 Bellona versus level 12 Vulcan, just based off those numbers alone, is definitely not worthwhile.
Not worth it. And the Gold Fury about to spawn as well. I say about to spawn, about 50 seconds away. Allegiance have got 2 kills, though. They were 7-0 a moment ago. It's now 9-2. So they traded 2 for 2 there. Get their red buff, but maybe Incon's in trouble. Double tap from Andy misses as Incon gets away. But Luminosity, they're just in the enemy jungle the whole time.
Yeah, and this is what they have to do. Like, the way they put pressure on that dual lane tower is what they're probably going to do now to the solo lane tower. They're going to have ScaryD push that tower. Gold Fury is coming up in about 30 to 45 seconds, but actually 20.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to, actually his teleport is down, so he's not going to be able to teleport over. So if he puts too much pressure on the solo lane tower, maybe Allegiance could take advantage of that.
But realistically, the way Luminosity is playing this game so far, to like, do these even need to come over here? He could just sit in this lane, right? And then force them to defend. If they don't, he's going to get a tier 2, and the fights are going well for LG anyway.
Yeah, the way Allegiance has to defend against ScaryD, it's going to be more than just Mattypocket. So if ScaryD can force 2 people in that lane, that's a free gold fury for Luminosity.
And you can see it's 4 levels over Mattypocket right now. ScaryD having a very good game, as is the whole of Luminosity. This is the team we expected at the start of the season. Mackey evaporated. That's all you can really say about that.
The Thor wall into the Hui Ricochet. Thor goes up in the sky. Sylvanus ulti as well. Lassiz gets blown up as well.
Blown up as well. Gold Fury available. Incon sat at the back, has through space and time available. He's only got the Legion helm for any sort of secondary item, so relying pretty much on his base stats for damage here. Going to try and line himself up for it. Is he going to find the Gold Fury?
We'll see. No, it doesn't look like it at all.
That was just a nice sidestep.
Yeah.
You saw LG move.
We're all just waiting in silence looking at it.
There was nothing else to do, was it? It was like, well, he's... Nope.
Yeah, there hits it or he doesn't. It was a nice attempt, though. I think Luminosity recognized it. Actually pulled it towards the circle. Yeah.
It was really, really smart little play coming out from me. 11-2. Gold lead is now 8,600. Experience lead is 10,000.
And more importantly is the experience lead in this situation. The Thor Vulcan combination on top of the Sylvanus ultimate will guarantee anyone being killed. We even saw the Athena dying just to the Ricochet and the Thor combo, and then immediately after the Thanatos died to the Meatball.
Now, you're losing your whole jungle, right? You're losing your whole jungle, you can't contest your jungle. What's the call? Is it high wall coverage, stay in lane?
Farm, ward up Fire Giant, wait for Luminosity to start it, pray for a miracle.
Pray for a miracle. Already at that stage, it's only 16 minutes in until he's praying for a miracle. Well, we'll see if Allegiance can find one for themselves as they're doing back copies there. Lassiz and Incon, level 12 and level 13 respectively, alongside their other trio mid laner partner in MrMakey at level 11 at the moment. But immediately, Luminosity on the right-hand side, now going to strip away more of the jungle once more.
And this is something that they have to do if they want to secure the victory. They're not going to start Fire Giant right now. They're going to just take away the jungle, wait for somebody to come into the jungle to possibly pick off, and then look for the objective. But if they come from behind on Mattypocket, this could be the pick for the objective future on.
Well, they're going to try and pick the pickler, and he has to ult away for the time being. Tier 2 tower now being pressured with minions there. ScaryD leading the front line. Very deep he was there, but he's very tanky and high level. All the extra HP he's going to get from that too. And once again, they're just moving as a unit now, Luminosity.
ScaryD doesn't even have any magical defense right here. He went Itchable after Frostbound Hammer, recognizing that because he's the highest level of the game, he's relying on the natural level base stats to carry him through the damage that Incon can dish out.
Well, Tom going to miss from Mackey there, as did the pull from Jeff, but the tier 2 tower still being worked on here. Nobody from Allegiance able to defend this wall. Double tap on Mattypocket, and Luminosity swing to the right-hand side. They're just looking to chip away at the towers here, so it's like they've got a Fire Giant right now.
Yeah, and this is something that they need to do, like I mentioned. They're controlling the jungle, they get the tier 2 tower, they're resetting. They're still playing it super safe where they're not going for Fire Giant. They're constantly putting pressure. They have Andinster in the jungle looking for the long-range setup, whatever he could do. He could also ulti from this far away.
Tom from Mackey's available, gonna hit only onto JeffHindla there, but Jeff happy enough. The sun rains down from BaRRaCCuDDa as well, but andinster takes out Lassiz, who was looking for a pick. Mattypocket surrounded, has to ult away. The dot damage is following, the wall is perfect. BaRRaCCuDDa will get a ricochet in his face, and Mattypocket picks up the kill as well.
So with that, we actually did see a surrender vote, and I wouldn't be surprised if it falls through, because in a situation like this, you're down 13, and in fact, it did go through. You don't want to be too demoralized going into game 2. You recognize, like, okay, they're going to stall this game out. They're going to get the Fire Giant. We have to surrender and go into game 2.
So we've discussed this a lot of times. We've had pros on the scene as well of, like, during a game when you're losing, you know the game's over. Is it best to, like, sit there and think about what we did right or wrong? Or I guess in that game they probably knew where they went wrong.
When you're down about like 8 to 10,000 goals, sometimes you know it's inevitable. But you still use the time in the first game to talk about the mistakes that were made and the necessary adjustments you have to do carrying into the next one.
So that game then, what would Allegiance have been saying? What was the biggest mistake?
The biggest mistake was the fact that the Janus ulti in the beginning of the game towards the red buff specifically was really good, but they just couldn't get the kill on BaRRaCCuDDa.
The fight went wrong. I mean, very, very early on in that laning phase at the beginning, you saw the pressure they put on BaRRaCCuDDa, and Andy turned that one around. And then, obviously, the invades worked out very, very well in their favor. Well,